All right, folks. So the last thing I was going to talk about during class is about handing work in because we're having a little bit of an issue. So when it comes to the tutorials, the stuff from the book, these things right here, your After Effects project file is fine. Because I have the same book, I have all the same files. I have all the same ridiculous little, Illustrator files and movies and whatever, and they're organized in an identical way to what you were working with. So all I have to do is put your After Effects project file in my own folder, um, and then that's all I have to do, and it'll work mostly. Um, your homework assignments have to be rendered because I don't have whatever, you know, images you use. I don't have any video that you shot. I don't have the song that you used or the audio wherever you got it from. I don't have those elements. It has to be rendered. And you'll notice that I say here, not larger than 100 megabytes. And I've said in class several times, if it's larger than that and you can't get it smaller, talk to me and we'll see about it, because there's a couple of people for whom I'm downloading stuff and the files are huge. Now for your final, that's going to be a different story, right? Like that's going to be a bigger project. These are not bigger projects and I cannot be sitting here all day downloading things. Plus we have to learn how to render anyways. So we're going to go about rendering in a different way. It hopefully will help with the larger than 100 megabytes issue. If you can't render at home or something like that, render at the school. I've never started class exactly on 5:30 because people are still getting there and because we're collecting our stuff and turning on our computers, which takes 7 years. So, you know, you have a little bit of time at the beginning of class. And so far, these things shouldn't take long to render. So try, make sure you're handing in rendered files. All right. So I'm back in my ridiculous whatever this was. And we're going to render this. Now, the way we had been doing it before was composition add to render queue, which is traditionally how you use this. But the best setting got buried somewhere different, and one of your fellow students found it. It's under composition add to Adobe Media Encoder queue. Adobe Media Encoder is actually a pretty nifty tool. I've used it outside of After Effects for stuff before, and it will re-encode video, basically. That's its job. And you see it adds it here. There's also a different one that I had added there before. Yes, I want to delete the thing. So it's a little weird to look at, and if you're opening it for the first time, it is going to take a minute. It's not going to just pop up. And so you've got the name of it here, output file, same as the regular queue. So I can change it because right now it doesn't have my name on it. We don't like when things don't have our names on them. Lesson 6. All right. Now it's under by mine defaulted to H.264. Yours might not. Different computers, different settings. So you click on the blue where it says, right here on the far left hand side, whatever setting it says. It might say H.264, it might say QuickTime, whatever it says. Click on that. And then it'll bring up all your output settings. And under format, select H.264 if it hasn't been already. Right? You don't want an AVI. You don't want a QuickTime. We've been using that as a stopgap, but H.264 is what you want. This is the YouTube friendly container, and it'll be a lot easier to upload, and it should be a lot smaller. Output name is also listed here. Export video, export audio if audio exists. And there are some settings, but the default for H.264 should probably be fine, especially if you have it set to high bitrate, right? We don't want them compressed too much. If they're compressed too much, they look like crap, and then, there was no point in all the work that you were doing. For the most part, the only setting you might change is in this middle section down here under basic videos, you can scroll down, and there are bitrate settings. If you're rendering something that you want to look really nice, like your studio logo that you're doing later, you can, instead of one pass, you can, do constant bitrate or VBR2 pass, or you can change what the maximum bit rates are. You can see these are pretty low, which is great for me to watch the video at home. But if you're trying to get something to look nicer, you can move these up, right? Audio settings, probably wouldn't mess with these. None of you are working with 5.1 surround sound, so stereo is fine. As we get further in, we might, change a few more of these things. But for right now, the default on this should work well. And you would hit OK. And then what's happening here is it's a queue. So there could be multiple things in here. But you press play and it'll start the render queue. And you can see it's previewing the video here, which is, I think you can, yeah, there we go. If you twirl that up, it's one less thing for your computer to do. Obviously, it's having no hard time with this. But if you've got a really heavy file, you don't need to watch it. You can just, twirl that up, render it out. And no loud noise. That's nice. And then I'd have to figure out where I put that. Because, let's see, NVCC, we're 226. I was in here, I think. In here. Ah, here we go. It made its own folder for me, I think. And there we go. So, MP4 video. It's only 14 megabytes. I love this thing. So hopefully it'll... Yeah, that looks fine. I'm sure I can make it look a little bit nicer, but for the purposes of what I'm doing, it doesn't need to be. Alright, so you want to make sure that you're rendering anything that is in this homework section. I don't have your files, so I can't watch them if you don't render them. Alright, and just so you know, I'm going to be working on grading over the next few days, so hopefully we're getting further along. But some people, I won't be able to grade your stuff because it's After Effects project files and I can't watch them. Alright, till next time.